Hey guys, welcome to a new adventure. I'm currently on the road right now on my way up to Connecticut to meet up with a special guest. I'm not going to tell you just yet who he is, but he has been in a couple of my videos and he's been a great supporter of my channel. So I figured I'd head up to his neck of the woods and do some exploring with him. The first video that we're doing together is the one you're watching right now. It's an abandoned rail yard that I'm really excited to check out with him. And if everything goes according to plan, we do have 1 or 2 other locations to check out today, but those will be featured in separate videos. I'm really excited to collaborate with him, and I'm taking you with me. So if you're ready, come along with me. Alright guys, made it to my destination, and I told you I had a special guest today, and it's none other than Rich Discoveries.
What's going on?
You might remember him from my abandoned mansions trip down in Maryland, and I'm up in his neck of the woods today, up in here in Connecticut. And our first location is an abandoned rail yard, as you can see from the title of the video. And this is a place he's been to before. He's going to give you some information on it, and we're going to check it out. And you know me, I love anything railroad. I know I'm going to enjoy it, and hopefully you guys do too. So we'll be there in a minute and we'll see what it looks like, so stay tuned. So what can you tell us about this place?
Well, oh man, alright. It was built in the early 1900s. This portion fed, this is the southbound yard, receiving yard I guess. This used to feed the main yard. Everything would come here, they'd separate it, feed the main yard and send it out. And the main yard closed in the 1950s at some point. It opened back up in 1960 briefly and then closed again for good. And that was it. And this is just one small portion here. Bunch of rail. Really cool stuff. I love this stuff. Yeah, they just end there and then they go into the yard that way. A brand new unused track from the 70s as well, all stacked up on the other section of the yard. Couldn't see a date, unfortunately. Ooh, well. There's one right there, 1937. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Connecticut River out here. It's really neat.
So it looks like an old signal tower, and following the path and came upon more tracks, and they're almost, as far as the eye could see, well over half a dozen sets. And it's just crazy how the trees are just growing up regardless of the rails being there. This is a nice area though. Rich was saying over here is a protected area, swamps, marshland. There's some wildlife around here, but it's a nice walking trail, and again, anything railroad related is right up my alley, so far I'm enjoying it. So what we have here appears to be like a service tunnel or access tunnel that goes through underneath the tracks to the other side, just as a access point. So we'll get a closer look and check it out. Alright, so as you saw me checking it out, the upper part here is like the manway, and down here is a drainage tunnel, which has a basically light at no end of the tunnel. I should say no light at the end of the tunnel, but the echo is pretty awesome. Yo! I can see a back there. It goes back probably 100 feet at least, but it might turn or something. Pretty cool though, but the water coming out here is not the cleanest. It's got a little bit of a sulfur smell. But what we want to check out is just above this.
concrete. They made it. Beautiful day to be out here.
Alright, so we're on the other side of the tracks now, and where are we going now?
We're gonna head up and follow this track a little bit.
Alright, after you. The little track switch right there would have been manually turned.
Still hooked up.
Yeah. Hasn't been used in decades, but still sitting there.
1960, so the final time this was shut down. I don't know what that concrete thing is. It doesn't go far. Let's look at all this stuff. I thought there was dates on those.
Here's a switch that's still hooked up and connected, but it's missing the lever to switch the track. We got an old fire hydrant over here too.
Got it. Somebody took off. Watching stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know what this was. It's paved at one time too. Whatever this was, I never noticed this either.
Oh, Philadelphia.
We'll get closer to that on the way out when we do the half underground building. It's an old loading platform. This was the foundation for the main office. And then here's the base of one of the towers. Amazing, isn't it?
Oh, guys, don't get any ideas. I'm not climbing up there.
It's way too high. It hasn't been inspected since the 60s.
So what was this, an office?
This was the main office for this portion of the yard. And then this big pipe thing on the left was for sending waybills from office to office, the main office to this office. Kind of like the thing at the
drive-through
yeah,
banks?
drive-through
Yeah.
the bank, same thing. Then again, this pipe matches that pipe out there. I wonder if that pipe going across the yard was for this. I bet you it was.
There's a old furnace or something, boiler.
All these years coming to this place, and I'm still doing new stuff.
That's why I like revisiting places. I always find something new.
Yeah. Like this.
Man, it's way up there.
Yeah, that's a long way.
It's probably at least 50 yards high. Can actually give you a pretty cool shot at the ladder now. As much as I would make for a great view up there, couldn't pay me enough to do it, so just have to use your imagination for that one.
Unfortunately.
So we have our next light tower here. Looks like they're all busted out, but still standing tall. And that one has insulators right there. We got this pole right here too.
Stuff everywhere back here.
Well, we came upon our first control tower.
I'm not gonna go around.
Anyone here? Definitely signs of someone staying here. Let's take a peek inside.
These were the rail retarders.
Or what?
Rail retarders. What they would do is, this was all gravity fed, being a hump yard, and they would just roll on their own, and then this guy would control which track to switch on to what, and then there'd be there's two rails here, and this actually lifts up and squeezes on the train wheels to slow it down.
Okay.
And that's what controls your speed.
It's almost sound like a roller coaster all they have where it lifts it up and breaks it.
Basically the same thing.
It's cool. I've never saw these before.
Really cool stuff.
It's the first time I've ever seen these.
Even still old grease on them. These things are solid. These aren't going anywhere. Dated 1929. Pressure pump. Really neat.
Actually has some pretty modern electrical outlets here. I'm surprised to see that. These, I don't think we're at until like the 80s. I could be wrong, but pretty neat to see something that modern in here. Alright, so Richmond is way up top there. And I guess we'll follow suit. It's kind of steep. But...
Hey Jay, the weather's nice up here.
Alright, coming up. Must be ventilation for the heat.
Yeah.
There's actually a modern plug downstairs though. It has the 3-prong outlet in it.
Really?
I'm kind of surprised to see that.
Yeah, that's weird. That was a bathroom. Some shelves left, that's about it. Smashed everything. Even kicked holes in it.
Not in horrible shape for sitting in a band as long as it is.
See a little phone jack. Backwards. I just feel more comfortable.
This is my worst kind of grading here. You can see through the bottom.
Oop. Go straight down. I don't go too slow either. Here's the name, Irving's.
Alright, so this part I'm not too crazy about going down. Coming up is one thing, coming down is another. So I'm going to put the camera away. It's just going to be too difficult to film and walk down this really steep set of steps. So on top of that, it's covered in vines and it's really old. I know it's going to hold us, but still freaks my mind. I just have a thing with heights. I don't know what it is. I wish I wasn't like that, but Rich made it down. So I'm going to follow suit and then we will pick up down bottom. Okay, so off in the background you can see hiding, that's the tower where we just were. And when we were up there looking off in the distance and we saw this area here, which is the outskirts of the active rail yard, which is more or less a storage area. They have tons and tons of tracks here and an older maintenance away vehicle and some concrete rail ties. So this is private property. We're not going to go on here, but just want to give you a peek at it so you can see what was in relation to the property here that we were just previously exploring on. So we're going to go back into the main area here and continue onwards. It still moves a little bit. It's hard to see, but it says General Railway Signal Company, Rochester, New York. It actually has some like instructions and stuff here. Adjust cam about shaft so that screws are accessible for final adjustment regardless of switch position. And there's the inner workings of it. I'll try moving that, see if we get a shot of that moving. Okay, so we're kind of off the trail now, making our way through the grounds here, and we're headed to what Rich has described as the best building on the property. It's an old mill. And I guess this is probably the biggest and best intact building here, but just kind of navigate through the foliage here. There's just railroad ties everywhere, railroad tracks, switches. The whole grounds are littered. Literally. What is it?
A wolf, or a coyote rather, running off. Deer, and oh, I wonder if he's chasing the deer. There's two deer just ran. He's behind that tree, he just ran off.
Oh, he's still there.
He's wandering off.
Yeah, I got pepper spray too. Yeah, so we just stumbled upon what was either a wolf or a coyote over here behind the tree. Yeah, he was actually hiding in here. You hear him running. Oh, yeah, something just ran. So I don't think I got that on camera, but we did see it with our own eyes. And it's just a good time to mention, though, when you come and do stuff like this, one is don't come alone. You know, at least bring someone with you. Number two, I have pepper spray with me and I have a knife, just as a backup in case anything was to happen. Animals or, you know, crazy skid out people. You never know what you're going to encounter. So it's good to be prepared and good to do it safely. So otherwise, we're still moving on and making our way to our next destination. Alright, so we're a different section of the woods now. We got remnants of an old pole with some insulators. It's very hilly ground here with some metal and ties sticking out everywhere. It's almost like a graveyard, just pieces sticking out. Piping. There's a section of rail. But we are getting closer, so just showing you our journey on the way to our destination.
really heavy. Oh, you know what? This might go underground. That might be an anchor for a guy wire. For telephone poles, maybe? Maybe it just goes under the ground? I think it just anchors it.
Something's moving there.
I don't know. There's a train coming in. There's a track here, too. Huh.
Alright, so after some determination, we found what we're looking for. Look at a big hole there, geez. It's like Bigfoot. So we got a collapsed structure here.
I don't know what the collapsed structure was, but seeing as that is the mill just behind it, it could have been a storage area for wood or supplies. But that's just a guess on my part.
So if you could kind of depict, there's rail going in different directions. It's almost like a cross here, a cross switch. I've seen them at a powder mill where the tracks would come out onto like a mini turntable. They were almost like ore carts, and they were able to rotate it to switch different directions. So that's what it reminds me of. So here we have it. It's the remnants of an old mill. Slowly getting taken over by Mother Nature. So what our plans are to check out the mill first right here behind me. And then when we come out, we'll check out whatever's left of these structures and ruins. It's like an old boiler right there. And we'll just check around the area and see if we find anything else, but let's head in there and check it out. Alright, so you saw me go in there, so let's take you in there now. We're actually not alone here. Got someone watching over us. It's an actual buzzard right there. Might be a turkey vulture. But he's sitting up there waiting for one of us to peril. But this looks pretty amazing in here. Every type of decay you can imagine, with rust and rot and the moss and just everything. Roots and vines. Pretty incredible. Yeah, he's watching over us alright. That's a good size one too. Alright, so the one thing I like to do at locations is to show you the size perspective compared to myself. So just set the camera down and walk over towards the middle of the building and you'll be able to see the grand scale of this place. Definitely a good sized building, I'll tell you that. So we got some old steps right there that go up. Probably was maybe an office or inner room there. So it had a wooden top, probably had an upper area, but no longer accessible. You know, this reminds me of here, this is like the lever when they do the chair electrocution. That the guard that stands there and just flips the switch.
I don't really know how deep that is, but that is a massive boiler.
That's something that you see in your nightmares.
Probably goes down at least 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, you can see it's deep well here.
It's on
Man, that's something else. Yeah, this thing, look at the size of that opening. That's probably about 5 to 6 feet across. Just the massive tubes and everything.
A lot of area to heat. All these pipes over there, pipes over there heat. The heat is all up top.
And it actually goes, it's hard to see on camera, but it actually goes underneath there. So the pipes stop there, and then it's darkness under there, so it goes under. So that's a pretty deep pit. Looks like there used to be steps right here. Oh yeah, there's still remnant. They go into the water.
Definitely wouldn't stand on it.
I'm not going any further, but there's actually steps.
Birds.
That's a cool shot right there. I'm going to zoom in. It looks really awesome. Yeah.
Bubbles coming up.
Like the Loch Ness Monster down there.
Got the name on it. Can't quite read it though.
So we got the overhead crane there. You can see it rides on the rails the length of the building. Oh yeah, like a little room up there. Yeah, there's definitely a second floor space up there, but it's long gone. So this is another one of those places that I like to call an adult playground, because you get to climb around, explore, and just have a great time checking out what used to be here, envisioning what took place, kind of replicating what employees used to do. Those vultures are scaring the crap out of me. I think there's a few of them here. But really glad that Rich took me here, because again, railroad history means a lot to me. I love anything railroad related, and places like this are just, to somebody it might be an eyesore. To me, it's a piece of history and something really awesome that, you know, unless you're from the area or been back here personally, you won't even know exists. So I'm glad I'm able to not only come here, but to take you along with me. So all I ask is that if you're enjoying the adventure so far, give it a thumbs up. Tempting feet here. A little sketchy.
I'll touch a part that wasn't in order. Alright. You gotta navigate through all the stuff. The bottom is right. Oh, right there. That's concrete.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And there's air coming up from the bottom.
And that's roughly 4.5, 5 feet deep. So you fall in here, you're going to be in some trouble. Not only is it contaminated water with all the rust and metal, but you could probably get trapped under there, and who knows what's living in there too. It's definitely a scene from a horror movie. I mean, nothing really compares to what you see in person though, but it's definitely what it resembles. So Rich Discovery has actually discovered what looks to be an old workbench back here. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's hidden underneath the lumber there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and show you. Yeah, it's a old workbench. The old metal frame windows. But this is probably the best part though. I love the way this looks. It just looks mean and nasty and cool at the same time, but pretty much saw everything there is worth seeing here right now. So we're gonna head out to where we started, show you the remnants of those dilapidated structures that are more or less laying on the ground. Is that a hole in the ground? Got a little hole in the ground there. I don't know what that is. Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna show you what's left of that out there, and then we'll be making our trek back. We have a long walk back, but it's a beautiful day. We're having a great time. And like always, if we discover anything along the way, back to our starting point, I'll obviously share it with you guys. There's what?
An underground building too, towards the entrance.
Oh, okay, so we do have another location to check out, so don't go anywhere yet. More video to come. Okay, so we're back out. We got some twisted metal and steel here. Probably storage buildings, you know. Nothing of great importance. Just a heaping pile of metal.
Didn't remember what this was.
There's a big boiler right there. Looks like somebody torched off a section of it here.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Either to get what was inside, because there's really no way to get stuck in there. Originally I was thinking, so kids didn't get trapped, but there's no other way in.
Dover Boiler Works.
It must have been valuable metal.
Dover, New Jersey. And this is similar to what was made at the International Boiler Works. If you guys haven't seen that video, it'll pop up in the corner of the screen right now. There's a commercial industrial site that specialized in the manufacturing of commercial boilers, so pretty interesting to see one of these in person though. We got a little Charlie Brown Christmas tree right here.
See, that one still got the glass.
Okay, so we finally arrived at our next and final destination. After doing some bushwhacking, we came to a loading platform. You can see the upper section, and then we have a corridor that goes underneath. So we're gonna head down there, check that out first, and then do the exterior part. Got my flashlight out, thru TC20, so should have no problem lighting it up. All right, into the bowels we go.
Car radio next to you there. I don't know what.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is pretty neat. Got all sets of lockers here. And these are not icicles. I forget what they're called, but it's from the concrete. So we're walking underneath a loading platform right now.
There we go. That was all the stuff hanging out of the ceiling.
Got a big tree growing there outside the window. This goes for a good distance here. Looks like a nest up there. Got an escape hatch. And I guess if you're down here, you'll die. I think it's the first time I've ever been under a loading platform. So, could check that off the list. Part of an old shovel. We've got some graffiti down here. Hope I don't come across any snakes, but oh, look at this nice light hood here. It's got the classic industrial look to it. This is almost like a wine cellar. It's nice and cool down here. Oh, I got some old switches here. That looks like ceramic, I believe, or porcelain. Probably porcelain. This ceiling is kind of crazy. It's like oozing, like slime and stuff.
Not as bad as some of the graffiti I've seen. I think there's a little pipe on top here. Wherever these vent shafts are. And I'll use another opening. No ladder on this one. Oh, that's a big one. It might have had a hoisting storage here. I don't know. Oh, that's not close.
Well, ladies, if you're looking for your open toe heel, it's right here. So I may have been mistaken with what I said earlier. I said there was tracks on top of these loading platforms. I was incorrect, because my first time ever really seen them in person, but there's one behind me. It's hard to tell. There's a little ramp there. Most likely what Rich said, the tracks went in between the loading docks. That way they could be level with the opening for the box cars or whatever, the flat cars. So no tracks on top, most likely in between, but still cool to get underneath that though. It's something I've never done before. But we're gonna go on this incline one and show the top of that. And that'll probably be it. So a little bit more to go. Alright, so you can see the little incline ramp here. It's probably used for forklifts or pallet jacks or whatever they use at the time to load and unload goods from the freight cars. And we're going to try and make our way up here. You can see there's a little opening under there. Not as deep as the other one though. So right there is where we were underneath. That's the top of the platform. And this one that we're standing on is the same height, but it only has like a crawl space underneath it, not a whole underground tunnel. But it goes for a good distance, probably over 100 feet, if not longer. But there's one more thing we're going to check out. Rich said there's remnants of a bridge or a trestle over there, so we're going to check that out, and that'll probably be it. So it's kind of hard to see, but hidden in the foliage and leaves there is railroad ties, so the tracks came right alongside the platform, which would have made sense. That way they could get basically in and out without any gaps in between the freight cars. The middle section here may or may not have had tracks, but I'm guessing there's probably tracks on the outer edge of that wall, that loading dock there. So just trying to piece it together. If you know any more facts about that, feel free to let me know.
Is there concrete under there somewhere?
Still there.
Forest up there.
Alright, so last piece we want to show you is remnants of, looks like an old trestle or maybe a coal dock or something, I don't know, but it's up pretty high there and continues on this way, and you can see the rest of the structure. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to try and give you a better look at it, but we're going to give you a couple different angles of it here. That's definitely really old. Looks like even some of the metal beams are falling apart. And there are steps to go up to them, but half the steps are missing. And I'm not going to tempt fate today. But yeah, pretty neat. You can see the old platform up there, the wooden rungs or ties. half of them are falling apart. Little pull tops.
Wow.
Oh, look at right there behind you.
Oh yeah, deer. Maybe that was his deer.
Yeah, so that pile of stuff you see right there came from right there. So it's no longer passable. And you can see here, hopefully by the angle, it's bowing down. It's
Beam came out.
yeah, it's going to fall under its own weight. This would be neat to see with drone footage, but unfortunately we're too close to an airport and it'd be a no-fly zone, so I wouldn't be able to get the drone up in the air. But it does look pretty neat though, and it goes, you know, a little ways over there, over the active rail yard part. That is a long set of wooden steps. It'd be cool as heck to get up there, but it's just too far gone. These rungs that are holding the steps are barely holding on. There's no way it would hold me. Alright everyone, that's going to conclude the video for today. I hope you enjoyed the tour of this abandoned rail yard. I first want to thank Rich Discoveries for taking me here today. This was his location. He filmed it multiple times, and even being here so many times, he actually found new stuff today.
Yeah, I found a lot.
And if you guys saw stuff throughout the video that you have information on, feel free to share it down below. For me, the favorite parts of me was just seeing the old remnants of the tracks, the switches, the big mill building with the different elements in there, the big boiler. Just really awesome. And even the trestle here, even though we couldn't get up on top of it, still really cool to look at. It's a piece of history, it's part of the decay, and you know, something that again you won't be able to see unless I'm able to share it with you guys. So if you did enjoy this video and today's adventure, drop a like down below. Any questions, comments, or thoughts, leave those down below as well. I do my best to respond to them. Don't forget, you can follow me on Facebook, where I do share photos and information about my explorations, as well as my merchandise shop and Patreon page. You can find the links to those down below in the description. I'll also leave a link to his page, and he does a lot of great videos like railroading, urban exploring, cars, everything under the sun. Do you want to give your thoughts on today, what you thought?
I just had a lot of fun. Like he said, every time we come out, pretty much found something different every time. And today, even though I've been out here multiple times over the years, I found new stuff I've never noticed and had a really good time. So glad to have him down here. It's good to meet up with him a second time, and yeah, had a really good day.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's up and coming. Rich Discoveries will be linked down below. So with that said, I just want to tell you thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you in the next video.
Beautiful day.